Good evening and welcome to tonight's third annual Migrant Voices Film Competition. I'm Paola Hernandez Jayo. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I will be your host. Tonight's event is presented by the San Diego Union Tribune and the San Diego Latino Film Festival. This year, Migrant Voices expanded its horizons and accepted international film projects from around the world. What you saw during tonight's screening was very diverse, 10 short-form films exploring loss, separation, current political realities, and COVID-19's effects on migrants, refugees, and asylum seekers on a worldwide scale. Tonight, at the end of the discussion, we will announce the two winners of this year's competition. An Emerging Filmmaker Prize will be awarded $1,000, and the Professional Filmmaker Prize will be awarded $5,000. Just as a reminder, the 10 finalists are Lockdown Struck, Estonia, director Ana Falcón. The Forgotten Businesses from Mexico, director Cristian Delgadillo. Defend the Asylum from Mexico, director Andrés González. Dibujos de Cuarentena de México, from Mexico, director Andrés González. I'm sorry, Dibujos de Cuarentena, México, director Hugo Cross-White. Separation, United States, director Miguel Ángel Durán. Llaves, Keys, from the United States, directors Mayra A. Flores. The Welcome Aurora, from Australia, director Kiosk Film, Sara Sagwalt. Last Christmas, from the United Kingdom, director Matan Rochlitz. Missing Migrants, from the United Kingdom, directors Rach Yannick and Chris G. And Soon Enough, from the United States, director Jordan Jacobo, Jasmine, and Jordan. Now I would like to introduce our filmmakers who could join us tonight for this discussion. Please, each one of you, please give a quick intro with your name, title of your movie, and what your movie is about. If we can have some of them join us on screen. Thank you very much. Thank you all for joining us tonight.
Thank you for the invitation.
All right, we can go ahead and start with who I see on screen first. I see Jordan, Jacobo, and Jasmine Preciado.
Yeah, I'm director Jordan Jacobo.
And producer Jasmine Preciado.
Our film is Ya Pronto, or Soon Enough, and it's the story of a young migrant worker who's forced to make very difficult decisions at the outbreak of the pandemic.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Andrés
you for having
González.
Hola, hola. Mi nombre es Andrés González, soy el director de Defend the Asylum. Mi documental muestra la historia de una chica que se ve obligada a migrar fuera de su país y las dificultades que presenta la pandemia ante estas situaciones.
Muchas gracias, Andrés. Thank you, Andrés, for joining us tonight. Mayra Flores and Nick Manting Brewer, and I apologize if I mispronounce any of your names.
All good. We made Javis, the animated documentary.
Yeah, and I'm the editor, co-director, and Mara's the animator and co-director.
Thank you very much. And also Miguel Duran.
Hello, everyone. My name is Miguel Duran. I am the writer-director of Separation. This is a short film about a father, and then that's one together. Father must say goodbye to his wife and 6-year-old daughter before being picked up by ICE.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ana Falcon.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ana Falcon. I'm the director of Lockdown Stock, and the story is about how COVID-19 brought back the trauma of migration to a young woman.
Thank you very much. Cristian Delgadillo.
Good evening, all. My name is Christian Delgadillo. I'm the writer and director of the short documentary, The Forgotten Businesses, Los Negocios Olvidados. And it's just a short documentary about the struggles that my family has been living through the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight and for submitting your film. Hugo.
Hello, my name is Hugo Crosswaite, and I'm a draftsman from Tijuana, and my film is Dibujos de Cuarentena, and it's a short experimental film that documents some drawings that I've been working on my sketchbook during quarantine.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you all for taking the time to join us tonight from the different countries that you're here with us today. Congratulations on being one of the finalists. Please, I'm going to go in a different order this time, but if you can talk to us about why you chose this subject for your film, this time we can start with Hugo.
Basically, when I saw what this challenge was about, the Migrant Voice Challenge film, I decided, well, this whole year has been a very crazy year of lockdown, and just me being, in my studio. Usually my practice is about going around the streets of Tijuana and just talking to people and collecting stories. And out of those stories, I create drawings in my sketchbook. Like, it's just about improvising drawings from stories that I hear. But this moment of lockdown, that was an impossibility. Like, it was I no longer had this ability to go outside and collect stories. So then it was just me being in lockdown, trying to remember things that I've heard and just recreate my practice that I used to do as a way of coping with what's happening right now with this COVID pandemic. So then, as part of this, I decided to do this stop motion drawing animation, which is very experimental. Basically, I would be drawing a detail and I would, photograph it, and then draw another detail and photograph it. And with this, I created this very simple stop motion drawing animation that tells basically how I'm dealing with the pandemic, and the stories that I hear, and the worries that I have, and the insecurities that we're living through this moment. And once I finished all the imagery, I had to come up with sound. This being a film. So and I'm not a real filmmaker. I'm a draftsman. So I thought, well, a while ago, when I was walking through the streets of Tijuana, at some point I was walking through Pasaje Gomez in Revolucion, and there was this music school. And when I was there, I listened to this beautiful cacophony of sound. There was this girl playing the piano, practicing, and then there were these guys playing the guitar, practicing. You could hear the street, you could hear traffic. And to me, that all these sounds, when I was thinking about my film, about the stop motion animation, it kind of correlated with my practice in my sketchbook, which is precisely this. A sketchbook is about practice. A sketchbook is something that's basically unfinished. And here I'm hearing music that's also has the frustration of you're practicing. You don't have it right. You make mistakes. You repeat and repeat and repeat, which is kind of the custom of working on a sketchbook. Is also repeat and repeat and repeat, and it has this anxiety of the moment, that we're in lockdown, we're not producing work, we're kind of in this moment where everything's on standby. And then also it kind of led also to this notion of well, at least in my thinking, kind of impunity, like this moment where things cannot get resolved, crimes are not solved, things don't move because we are at this moment. That's very unique.
Thank you very much, Hugo. You actually, in one, answered some of the follow-up questions that I had for you. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Cristian Delgadillo, tell us about your film and also why you chose this subject for your film.
I did not hear about the migrant film until my professor asked me to visit this website for the first time for one of my classes. And when I saw the Migrant Film Challenge, I read through the explanations and the process of what kind of film or short films we should upload. And when I saw there was this line, there was a sentence that said the effects about the COVID-19, I felt like I had a story to share with everyone about how my family has been living through, not just through COVID, but through the last 10 years. I was going to do it originally in like a short story, but then I chose documentary because when you make a documentary, it's mainly, it's not fiction. It's, you're showing a person's actual story on screen. And I thought that my story could deserves to be shared with everyone.
Thank you, Cristian. We appreciate that. Ana, can you tell us how it was that you chose this subject for your film?
Actually, I was invited to an experience called the Transmission Project. The Transmission Project was organized in New Zealand, and it was a collaboration between artists of different continents. And basically, the prompt was that one of us would write, then the other one would direct, then another one would do the voice acting, and finally, we would have a music composer working. But everyone was in different time zones. So I received the text and voice. The text was written by a friend, actually. His name is Kid Strange, and I was surprised on how it resonated with me. And I decided to honor his work by doing a collage and just juxtaposing my own experience as a migrant with his words. And it worked amazing. And I cannot thank him enough for writing such a beautiful story. And also thanks to the organizer of Transmission because they made this possible.
Thank you very much. I also want to remind our viewers, the audience, that you can send in your message. We're seeing one right there from Vika Chavez saying bravo to the group and to the finalists. Congratulations. You can send your comments via YouTube, and you can also send them. We're doing a live stream on Facebook at San Diego Latino Film Festival. Miguel, let's move on to you. Tell us about why you chose this subject for your film.
Yes. Well, prior to the pandemic, I was working on a documentary series about the immigrant experience. This was 8 episodes, and during that time, like everything I was working on was all based on immigration. And then when the pandemic hit, and I also read this article about this undocumented father from Michigan who's been there for 30 years, and eventually the immigration judge allowed him 2 weeks to say goodbye to his family, to do what he has to do. And then when I was reading it, my heart sank, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I'm curious, what would your last morning look like before you left? And so that got me thinking of like this short film about like what would a father say or do to his family and with his family before he knew that someone was going to come and take him away. And so when I read that article, I was like, I gotta shoot this. I gotta, it was very like immigration's like this, and this one went very specific. And so I thought it lent itself to a short film, and so I'm blessed that I was able to do it. And And the other reason is, like, I'm a son of immigrants, and so I'm very proud of having immigrant parents. And I know the struggles that they have to go through. And so I thought, why not share to the rest of the world what's going on, at a very minute level.
Thank you very much, Miguel. Also, there we have another comment from L. Joe Casao saying, good job to all the group. I think all of you can see the comments that are coming in.
Yeah.
You see them on screen? Excellent, hit from Jesus Rocha. All right, let's have someone else from the group. Let's have Mayra and Nick, if you can tell us why you chose this subject for your film.
Well, we've actually been working in this subject for a couple of films now. Our first experience working together was in my thesis that actually screened at the Latino Film Festival in 2018. So it's a continuation on exploring that topic of motherhood and the impacts of migration and separation. So it started with the experience of my mother's story, and then Nick was working on a longer documentary about the detention center in Georgia, in Lincoln, Georgia. And there was this interview that had to be cut because for length, and also because we just felt like it was the perfect interview for an animated documentary. So we kind of kept that going for a couple of years, and during quarantine, during the summer, it was when I was able really to sit down and really animate and complete this film. So yeah, I guess I only make films during times of crisis, I feel like, but it's really important to tell these nuanced stories, to add to that conversation that we're having nationally, and just to humanize it in a way that I guess we only know how through filmmaking.
Good. Thank you very much, Mayra. Thank you, Nick, as well. Let's move on to Andres Gonzalez. Andres, if you could tell us what was the reason why you chose this subject for your film.
Hola, hola. Bueno, todo empezó cuando nuestro coordinador, yo soy estudiante de cine aún, nuestro coordinador nos manda una nota del periódico y el encabezado pues dice algunas de las problemáticas que se presentaron durante la pandemia y cómo ha afectado a los migrantes. Entonces, y el tiempo que habían estado aquí atrapados en Tijuana. Entonces, siendo un tema tan presente en la ciudad en la que vivo y siendo algo que está pasando en estos momentos, nos pareció adecuado y no sé, o sea, hablar sobre esas problemáticas de tu misma ciudad y explorarlas y aprender sobre ellas, pues, no sé, era algo que nos llamaba mucho la atención y queríamos conocer más a fondo. Y creímos que era como adecuado porque son temas que ves recurrentemente en noticieros, notas periodísticas, pero no sé, creíamos que hacía falta algo más y queríamos darlo a conocer, un tema actual con un documental.
Muchas gracias, Andrés. Justo el San Diego Union Tribune, el periódico aquí en San Diego, es el presentador y patrocinador de esta serie. Así es que muy curioso que comentas que fue esa una de las razones que viste que por medio de tu maestro viste un artículo de periódico y lo has visto en la prensa. Así es que todo viene unido, todo se viene juntando, y qué bien que lo hicieron ahora por medio de película. Jordan y Yasmin, ¿por qué escogieron este tema para su película? Why did you choose this topic? I'm sorry, change the Spanish. Why did you choose this subject for your film?
I think both languages work. When Yasmin, my producer, mentioned the competition to me, the first thing that came to mind was the story of a friend of mine who she has a sister and two brothers, and they all work in San Diego, but they live with their parents in Tijuana. And in the past year, they were forced to make a very difficult decision, family versus career, essentially. And they all decided to stay here in the United States. And obviously they send money back home. So for them, the struggle has been very, very difficult. They haven't seen their parents in about a year. But I know that they're very fortunate compared to, to others who've been affected even more heavily in this. But their struggle's been very difficult nonetheless. And so for me, that's the first story that came to mind. That's what inspired me. But,
yeah, well, it's a story inspired by true events, and none truer than I do have family members who had to make this decision, who had to, forego crossing the border and how they were going to deal and make these very difficult decisions. So I really felt it really close to my heart, and we decided to tell that story.
Yeah.
Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations to all of you for being in the group of finalists. Talk to us about the process of making your film. Some of you already touched upon some of this subject. Tell us about some of the challenges or surprises that you found along this process. And we can start with Mayra and Nick this time.
Well, I think the challenge was when we initially had this interview. We could really. I think that what happened was we had it in another project that I was working on, but when it suddenly played, first of all, the limitations of it were that I wasn't allowed to film the person speaking, and they wanted to remain anonymous for some obvious reasons. We were right outside of a detention center, and they were visiting a loved one in that detention center, so there was a lot at stake. And so, but when that scene played, you could immediately feel the weight of it. And so I think that one of the challenges from my end was trying to figure out the best way to let it live on its own and let a viewer fully experience that way. And I can let Mayra speak more about additional challenges.
Well, animating was definitely a challenge, like finding time. I teach animation during the day, so finding time to actually sit down and work. Transitioning from paper to digital was also a challenge. The emotional weight of it was also a challenge, and working through and pushing through. Also being stuck at home, and finding productive ways to do something. Just so much on the news. So I definitely found that challenging. There were days that I just felt like I couldn't continue animating, but somehow I just found the motivation and the strength to continue and animate a lot. It was a lot to be done, and I was surprised myself over the summer how I was able to do all that by myself without a team really. And always having Nick's support was also really helpful in that, through those difficulties and those challenges. But yeah, I think I would sum it up like that. And
yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you. You're an inspiration to all of us with your dedication, because we do work, but then finding that extra time for special projects definitely takes determination, and it also takes discipline. So congratulations. It's a lot of work. Miguel, tell us about the process of making your film and any challenges or surprises in the process.
The challenge was, we filmed the whole movie in a day, one Saturday, less than 8 hours. So that was that was pretty stressful. But it was the biggest challenge was, again, fitting it all in one day. That was a challenge. But the other challenge was working with my niece. So she's a little girl, a 6-year-old. She's not an actress, and so hoping that would work. That was the biggest thing in the back of my head. I was like, oh my God, please, Lynette, don't laugh, don't do this, So, but what I learned, biggest surprise was when I was working with my lead actor Dan, is I was following his lead. He was working with my niece. He was, saying a couple of things to her, trying to make her laugh so she could get comfortable. So what I learned there was just like seeing how your actors work with non-actors and just trying to find a middle ground. And so thankfully my niece cooperated, and she was like, yeah, let's do it again. Yeah, let's do another one. So that was a blessing for me. She's 8 now, and so she saw the movie. She's like, oh, that's kind of sad, but it's good. And the process of making the film was just, again, going back to the inspiration and just trying to fit it in a 5-minute time window. It's hard because you can extend this story to be 10, 15, an hour feature, you know. And so it was consistently cutting things away, cutting things away, cutting things away. And so eventually you got what you see, and I hope that it was emotional enough that you feel the pain and the love and the loss and just the reality of what's going on.
Thank you, Miguel. I'm sure that was a memorable experience for your niece as well.
Yeah, she loved it.
Thank you. Anna, tell us about the process of making your film and any challenges or surprises in the process.
Yes, we had only 36 hours for each stage of the film. So we had to do the drafting of the script, then the music, everything took 36 hours in between. It was a challenge and it was split across time zones. So it was very important for us to be respectful of the role that each of us played. And I guess that I learned a lot about the migrant experience across different continents. I learned that the pain is shared, and I think it's the biggest blessing of all.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to Christian. Christian, tell us about the process of making your film and any challenges or surprises in the process.
One of the biggest challenges for me was definitely figuring out how much information to put into this documentary, because there was about, I think I have to say, like 30 to 35 minutes of my mother just talking about all like the advantages and disadvantages of having a visa in the US, and like background story that she shared. So I think definitely, like, while editing was even longer, I think it definitely took me much longer to edit this documentary than to shoot it. I think shooting took me about the shots that were not in the interview probably took about, I'd say, maybe 2 to 3 hours, not in the same day. I think it was probably like cumulative each and every other day. And then the interview, I think it must have taken like about an hour, 2 hours to just listen to my mom with the information that she was sharing. And a thing that did surprise me was when I was at the border, there was this sign when you cross this bridge to, it's the bridge that like you walk through after you cross the border in San Isidro, and it said, I'm trying to think of it from the top of my head. It was, your actions are being recorded while you're walking through this bridge, and there's like cameras like in every corner. I was a little paranoid. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of paranoid, just like that someone was gonna like show up and tell me, hey, you can't record here. You can like lollygag. You can't have conversations with people while you're on that bridge. You have to like keep walking. You can't just stand there. And that's definitely something that I was kind of surprised by, because like, I don't know, like they're basically kind of like not letting you be free in a way. So I guess that was one of the biggest takeaways of recording this documentary. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Christian. And you saw another comment that came in there. Your films are all very touching, and the stories, a lot of us can definitely relate to them. So congratulations, you're getting a lot of kudos and messages on these amazing projects that all of you did. Let's move on to the next filmmaker. If you can tell us a little bit about your film, Hugo, and the challenges that you faced.
The challenges, my film is an experimental film, and by experimental, I mean that I don't know what I'm doing. So it's just this process of improvisation, which is basically all my work is based on improvisation. Like all my drawing is just, I never know. I don't have any sketches or anything. It's just about improvising on the page. So when I decided that I could do some audiovisual project out of this, and just me taking pictures with a crappy camera and just making sure that that it kind of looked good, everything from beginning to end was just this improvisational process of not really knowing if I'm doing anything right or if it actually looks good. The only way I could edit really was just by flipping back the photographs and seeing how things kind of worked out in the camera. And then later on, I got the help from my partner, Teresa Magario, and she put it all together on the computer and actually made a digital film. So then it was thanks to her that it actually, came out of my sketchbook into an actual little film. And the surprise that I'm actually in this, in this contest, in this festival, like the surprise to be part of this group of real filmmakers and to just be here with all of you today. That's a major surprise for me. So yes, I'm very happy.
Congratulations. Thank you very much for sharing that. Andres, can you tell us about the process of making your film and any challenges or surprises in the process that you found?
Bueno, creo que fueron bastantes, fueron varios desafíos. Para empezar, creo que uno que tuvimos todos aquí, o la mayoría de aquí, es grabar en una pandemia. Creo que ese fue el principal para todos. Es complicado por los limitantes que tienes de distanciamiento, los lugares a los que puedes ir, las personas a las que puedes ver. Entonces, es bastante complicado, incluso en detalles pequeños como al momento de entrevistar tienes que usar mascarilla, entonces a veces no se entiende. Esos pequeños detalles también como llegaron a afectar, ¿no? Pero principalmente la mayor problemática fue el acercarme con las personas, con los migrantes, porque yo estuve trabajando con Espacio Migrante. Ellos son una asociación que se ubica aquí en Tijuana y ellos apoyan directamente a los migrantes, entonces decidimos ir con ellos para buscar, una, informarnos y dos, para poder encontrar a una persona adecuada a la que pudiéramos conocer, hablar con ella y poder documentar su historia. Y lo que ellos nos explicaban y después nos quedó muy claro, y además es un punto que se toca en el documental. Estas personas tienen muchísimo tiempo esperando y han pasado por muchas cosas, entonces mentalmente es un tema muy delicado. O sea, no puedes llegar con una cámara y hacer 1000 preguntas porque son seres humanos al final de cuentas y a mucha gente a veces olvida eso cuando está entrevistando, ¿no? Entonces, el saber qué preguntas hacer y a quién entrevistar, porque por esta cuestión del tiempo y por cuestión de que ya se les ha entrevistado 1001 veces, es bastante delicado. Entonces, encontrar una persona creo que fue como uno de los mayores desafíos y poder hablar con ella sin afectar muy gravemente a su estabilidad mental o alguna otra fibra sensible que pudiéramos tocar por ahí. Entonces, pues sí, la verdad es que es bastante delicado. Pero mi mayor desafío creo que fue ese, pero la verdad es que a final de cuentas, pues fue un proceso en el que aprendí bastante. O sea, se sabe mucho sobre inmigración, pero no lo suficiente. Creo que jamás dejas de aprender sobre estos temas y hablarlo directamente con las personas a las que lo están viviendo, pues, no sé, te cambia totalmente la perspectiva y te enseña más de lo que uno piensa saber sobre los temas. Entonces, la verdad es que fue un proceso muy interesante, fue muy emotivo. De hecho, algunas de las entrevistas, pues, la verdad es que sí, incluso pues te quedas sin palabras, ¿no? A veces no sabes si sigues preguntando, qué vas a preguntar después. Entonces, es un proceso muy complejo, más para nosotros que vamos empezando. Y sobre todo, creo que alguno de ustedes ya lo mencionó, la cuestión de la edición. Es muchísima información la que se presenta, entonces resumir todo en 5 minutos, la verdad es que sí fue un buen ejercicio y fue un desafío definitivamente. Hay muchísimas cosas que me hubiera gustado que se supieran y detalles que aportarían muchísimo, pero por cuestiones de tiempo teníamos que estructurar una forma y delimitar mucho la información. Entonces, no sé, me gustaría después poder mostrar más, esperemos que sí, pero esos fueron los mayores desafíos, pero la verdad es que me voy muy satisfecho de llevarme una experiencia muy bonita al haber conocido a muchas personas y pues es una experiencia agridulce, la verdad, pero muy feliz de poder haberlo realizado y todavía más feliz de que muchas personas puedan verlo.
Muchas gracias, Andrés. Así como dices, una de las razones de esta serie es para poder ver las otras perspectivas de cómo están pasando los migrantes durante, en particular este año, los retos que han tenido ahora con la pandemia. Todos ustedes que son finalistas, gracias por sus películas. Eso nos ayuda a todos a poder ver esas experiencias también. Thank you very much. Let's move on. We have one more with Jordan and Jasmine. Tell us about the process of making your film and any challenges or surprises in the process.
You want to?
No, go ahead.
I think for me, the biggest obstacle was trying to tell a story that people, it was our hope, would find moving in only 5 minutes. Because we really wanted to tell the story of not just this earth-shattering event and how it affected someone on such a small but personal level. So I think the 5-minute limitation made that a little difficult, but I knew we could rise to the challenge, and I certainly hope that we did. So for me, that was the obstacle, sort of trying to condense it while still maintaining some sort of, effectiveness in the storytelling.
Yeah. I also think that one of the challenges, because of the whole COVID safety, we had to make sure that everybody was being safe, but also locations were really hard to find because you had to stay outside. It was we couldn't be inside, and we didn't want to put the safety of our crew in jeopardy. So we had to work around all these challenges, but we still wanted to tell a great story that people could identify with. So I think that was one of our struggles.
Yeah, this is among a few of our struggles, but hopefully we. I felt that she and I and the crew and certainly our cast were up to the challenge, and hopefully we did an effective job in that.
Yeah. Also, it was really cold, so I was out there in a really, really cold night shot, and I was freezing.
But she's a real trooper, and we appreciate it.
But it was great. Yeah. It was great.
Congratulations to all of you. Thank you so much. Congratulations for making it as one of the finalists for this Migrant Voices Today Film Challenge. We're going to move on to our next question. How have you been keeping creative or busy during this difficult pandemic? And by busy, we mean in your industry, also working, in the community if you do that, and also within your creative work as filmmakers. Let's go ahead and start this time. We can go ahead and start with Jordan and Jasmine.
Okay, so actually, when they gave the order to shut down and lock down, I think a year ago, it was a little tough. But I think that the year really lent itself to a lot of creative, thinking. I think it was the most creative year because there was no other distractions. I did a lot of writing. Jordan and I actually wrote a TV pilot for a Latino series, and just a lot of writing scripts. We did a couple of short films in the community. Jordan can talk about, he's been doing some films for the Chula Vista small business. I was trying to get together all the local theaters and the venues. We had a creative roundtable to see if we could all come together as creators, artists, filmmakers, to really support each other in these trying times. So just, helping out the community, writing, doing a lot of writing, storytelling. That's what I've been doing to keep busy. Also, encouraging other artists to help out, small businesses to really create some content. Yeah.
And I don't say this to make light of anyone's struggle, because I know that the pandemic has been very difficult on a lot of us. But I think it's moments of strife. It's very difficult moments like this that create, I think, some of the best art. And I've certainly been very much inspired by a lot of the things that I've experienced and a lot of the things that others have experienced. to sort of tell those stories. And so I think, even though it's been a very difficult time, I hope that a lot of other artists are able to find sort of a small silver lining in their personal experiences and are able to tell their stories.
Thank you both, and thank you for your service to our community. Ana, can you tell us how you've been keeping creative and busy during this difficult pandemic?
Yes, I had a lot of work actually. I was doing marketing for a startup, so we participated in several hackathons trying to develop a solution for people looking for volunteers throughout the pandemic. I'm also involved in a local film festival here where I live. So we were trying to make a hybrid model that would support both filmmakers and the audience. Um, so it was hard work and it was a lot of planning, but in the end, we managed to find a solution. I was also involved in studying new things. I attended a Zoom dance class. I attended several seminars and several congresses. And actually, I just connected a lot with people, with my friends, with my family. So, yes, I've been very busy during the pandemic. And as a creative, the hardest part was actually finding time to write or to develop my own ideas. Why? Because of the burnout. Like you give, you give, you give, and suddenly there is nothing else to work with. So actually, I had to just stop sometimes and say, hey, we need to write this, or we need to focus on distributing this short film that you made a while ago, which was the case with Lockdown Stock.
Thank you very much, Ana. It seems like you've been making very good use of the time for sure. Miguel, can you tell us how you've been keeping creative and or busy during this difficult pandemic?
Yes, it's been a really busy year. I thought it was going to be a very slow year because of what's going on, but actually it's been a wonderful year in terms of my creative work. And I'm also healthy, and my family's been healthy, so that's also been, you know, an amazing feeling. In the pandemic, I released, as I mentioned before, I released my documentary series. So it was 8 episodes for every week, you know, so that kept my momentum going. And then I just been doing a lot of writing. I've been wanting to write for a while, but, you know, so many things come my way. And so now blessed that as I mentioned in another interview, is like, I don't know when I'm ever going to have another full year, more or less, or even more, where you're at home and you can actually read books and research and write and draw and paint and toda esa cosa. And so I've been blessed. You know, I wrote a script, I wrote a pilot. I'm writing my second script now. I'll probably do another script in a couple months. So I'm just writing all the stories that I've been wanting to see myself, you know, direct and write. And so hopefully when we go back to whatever normal is, I'll have at least 5, 6, 7, 8 projects ready to go. I don't want to be like when the pandemic's ending, like, okay, now I'm ready to write. No, like, we're ready to go now. So I've been blessed just to be, you know, live the creative life. So I'm just thankful.
Thank you very much, Miguel. Maida and Nick, how have you been keeping creative and or busy during this difficult pandemic?
Well, I've been very creatively rewriting a lot of my lesson plans, really trying to keep my high school kids engaged through Zoom, which is not easy, but we've had some successes. And yeah, I mean, like, we made an entire film really throughout the pandemic, which it's creative. So it's like my first time actually working on my own personal work. And what else creative? I took up embroidery at the start, just trying out different crafts, beads, just working with my hands, watercoloring, just anything I wanted to try for a long time. I try to do that just to calm nerves and not be completely worried and nervous about everything, which is still kind of tough to do, or even focus on anything, because it's just so, I don't know, I feel like I felt it very heavily. So just focusing on anything else has been tough, but I guess finding those outlets and cooking too, trying different recipes just outside of what I usually do, which is animating and teaching.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate that, I think we've both been very fortunate first that we haven't gotten sick, and we've that's been a huge kind of relief for me personally. But I think that, it's been a tough time for a lot of people in this country. I've been very fortunate that I've been able to have steady employment throughout. And just trying to, again, like was said previously, just trying to figure out what the next thing's going to be and make those plans so that when things get back to a semblance of normalcy, we can get going.
Thank you. Congratulations, Mayra, on learning some new hobbies there, or trying them at least. Christian, can you tell us about how you've been keeping creative and or busy during this difficult pandemic?
Well, first want to start by saying that I cannot believe that it's been a year since the pandemic has started, because I can almost remember how that week went down when like the news was spreading that like schools will have to go to school and it's going to affect people's jobs. So right from the start, I was kind of where I was going to take, like how was I going to keep doing, am I going to work on my projects? Like, can I even work with people? Are we allowed to work in like out with like while following, COVID regulations? So one thing that did get me moving in and to keep myself busy during the pandemic was definitely working with local artists in Chula Vista for their like music videos. Some of them were also struggling on how they could promote their projects as well. So I had the chance to work with a few, and that was pretty much the only thing I could have done, like working with a bigger crowd, because all the other stuff I was working by myself. I even like helped make this little cute video for my wife for like her graduation. I was also I also did writing as well. Like there was this screenwriting class that was like, it was always pushing us to like, oh, you need to write 5 pages of script, now 10 pages, now 15 pages, and this like random idea that I had and it was also right on a homework assignment, which is the craziest of all things. And now like the more I kept reading and the more like pushing into expanding the story, like the more it like made me feel, one day we're gonna get back to normal, everything's gonna be working how it used to be. I'm gonna have a chance to hopefully like work on this project that I have in mind with the script. Not finished yet, but I'm really excited to be working on that, because that's definitely going to be the first thing I'm going to do after things get back to normal.
Thank you, Christian. Andrés, si nos podrías comentar cómo te has mantenido creativo y ocupado en estos tiempos difíciles de la pandemia.
Bueno, creo que principalmente ha sido, bueno, yo ya les mencioné anteriormente, yo sigo estudiando en la universidad, entonces creo que han sido más que nada los trabajos escolares, desde animación, escribir guiones, escaletas, preparar otros proyectos y también apoyar proyectos de otros compañeros. Han salido pocos trabajos por lo mismo de la pandemia, pero los que han salido, pues he intentado apoyar como se puede en el departamento que se pueda. Y también otra sería ver lo que están haciendo otras personas. O sea, creo que también es interesante, han salido varios proyectos o varias obras durante la pandemia, entonces es interesante ver qué están haciendo las demás personas y también conocer sus procesos creativos.
Muchas gracias, Andrés. Hugo, can you tell us how have you been keeping creative and or busy during this difficult pandemic?
Well, in the beginning, it was very hard to focus because of everything that was happening. But pretty much, my life as an artist has always been just being inside my studio and kind of, just I've kind of always been like in a lockdown in a way. The only thing that has been kind of difficult was that a lot of that fed my work was just being out in the street collecting stories or getting inspired by by the city, by the aesthetic and everything. So, but the very fact that I can't do that anymore, so that it's just a bit more about relying on memory and things that I've experienced in the past. So yes, but just keeping busy, just drawing every day. I still have a lot of empty pages on my sketchbook, and it's just about finishing sketchbooks, and then I'm hoping also the pandemic has put a lot of stops to gallery shows. So then it's been very difficult. So then at this moment it's just about coming up, trying to create a new body of work, and hoping that when things open up, I have enough for a show. But it's just being in the studio, drawing every day, and creating narratives.
Is that some of your art we see in the background, Hugo?
Yes. Some of my drawings, and yes. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Before I ask you the next question, I'll ask you the next question, and then when we come back, I do want to give you an opportunity to share your social media handles or where folks can find you afterwards as well. But before we do that, let's go ahead and get into one of the last questions that we have. ¿Qué consejo le darían a cineastas tratando de hacer una película? What advice would you give to emerging or other filmmakers trying to make a film? So instead of repeating the question every time, I'll just call on you and you can all give your advice. Let's start with Mayra and Nick.
Well, my advice is to trust yourself and the decisions that you make, and just go in with it with, I guess, honesty, empathy, and some search for truth. And I think a lot of that does get lost, unfortunately, in the process of receiving feedback. And it all just boils down to, what is it that you see in this? What is it that you want to share and broadcast? Because making films is a privilege. And I think it needs to be taken with that amount of, with gravity, really. And if you can say something that will shed some light on something, go for it. Or if it's something fun that you do for yourself, that's awesome too. And I think the more voices, the more perspectives we add, everyone's perspective is valid and important, and just keep going.
Your teachers always know best.
And Mayra and Nick, where can folks find you on social media, or where can they find you? Have a website, social media?
Yes, I have a website. It's myraaflores.com.
Yeah, and my production company is online on Instagram it's at A New Standard.
Thank you to both, and I do agree with that. I'm a big fan of teachers, and thank you very much, Mayra, for helping to form, our future through. You said high school is that you teach?
Yes, high school, 9 to 12.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, we're all applauding. All right. Again, what advice would you give to emerging or other filmmakers trying to make a film? Andrés, ¿qué consejo le darías a cineastas tratando de hacer una película? Y después también si nos puedes agregar tus redes sociales o alguna página de internet que quieras compartir donde el público te puede encontrar.
Bueno, como consejo, creo que sería buscar las historias en las que quieres contar, enfocarte en eso. Creo que otra también sería intentarlo. Creo que es algo que hemos aprendido muchos durante la carrera, a no dejar de intentarlo, ¿no? Tal vez yo, como muchos, hemos tenido miedo como a algunos proyectos o a ciertas cosas, pero creo que siempre dando un paso adelante o seguir avanzando hace que se te quite un poco este miedo, y también como el equivocarte. Aunque suene muy cliché y te lo repito 1000 veces, me ha quedado muy claro que es verdad. Una vez que empiezas a tener estos tropiezos, estos fallos, empiezas a aprender de ellos. Entonces, Muchos profesores lo repiten y creo que puedo reiterar que es muy cierto. Entonces creo que ese sería mi principal consejo. Como página, realmente no tengo un espacio, una página donde donde tenga algún trabajo o para promover algún trabajo, tal vez próximamente, pero sí me gustaría decirles sobre el laboratorio donde estoy trabajando para la escuela. Es el Laboratorio de Cine Documental del Noroeste. Así lo pueden encontrar en Facebook. Y también, en especial, Espacio Migrante, que son las personas que nos apoyaron. Los pueden encontrar en Facebook como Espacio Migrante o en Instagram igual, como @Espacio Migrante.
Muchas gracias, Andrés. Thank you, Andrés. Miguel Durán.
My advice, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's just make a film. It's easier said than done, of course. But I didn't go to film school. I just learned by working with friends, making movies, and so you can shoot now a whole feature with your phone. My friend did that, and he went to a couple awards. And so the biggest thing is just remember why you got into this. Like look at the films that you like, and make and just write the story. It doesn't matter if it's good or not. Just make a bunch of films just so you can see what aspect of it you like the most. And the most important, I tell everybody, remember to have fun. Making films is so cool. It's so challenging. It's a lot of hard work, but it's very rewarding. Have fun making the film. Enjoy the process. It's not just the end product. It's not just the final movie that's on the big screen. It's the whole thing. The idea, writing it down, finding a way to visualize the story, and then finally getting out. It's todo el proceso. It's the whole thing. It's just, for me, it's a blessing to do what I do and to be grateful, and it's just have fun. That's the most important thing, because I've met a couple of people who in the industry who are kind of jaded, because it's very hard work, and there's a lot of rejection, but you just got to keep going, have fun, keep going, and kick ass.
And where can the audience find you on social media?
Yes, sorry. So my website it's my name, miguelangelduran.com. And on Instagram, it's at ITS Miguel Duran, or it's Miguel Duran. So you can find me there.
Thank you very much. Christian.
One advice that I could give to an emerging filmmaker would probably, for one, if you're going to start making a film or documentary, whatever, you're going to start always, from experience, you should always stay organized. Have a schedule, figure out when you're going to shoot some certain scenes, figure out if you're going to work in a big crew as well. Always stay organized. And I guess the second advice I would give is to give it everything you got, to not give up. I mean, I tried getting into the graduation program at San Diego State, rejected twice, and it did hurt. Rejection all hurt, but that's just how it is. And it does, and yeah, I would say just do not give up on anything that you have going for you, because you see, like I could have given up on like pursuing a career in film, but I didn't, and because of that, it got me being a finalist in this challenge, and yeah, I guess that's what I would do. Stay organized and don't give up. And I don't have a website, but I do have it's Delga on set. It's just Delga, DELGA on set.
Thank you very much, Christian. Hugo.
Well, advice for filmmakers, I cannot give any advice to filmmakers. I am not a filmmaker. I'm a visual artist. But but I feel that like any art form, like any discipline, it's just practice. Practice makes perfect, and part of that is that you believe in yourself, you believe in the stories that you want to say, you believe in an aesthetic that you have. There's something that you love in film or whatever. No, there's an aesthetic that you grew up with that you want to express, and you find a way to do it. That's really the only advice. Don't work, practice. Like I tell other draftsmen, it's about filling up sketchbooks. So it's just practice. You can find my work at hugocrossway.com or at Instagram at hugocrossway.
Gracias, Hugo. Ana?
My advice would be to look for the yes. You already have a lot of no's, but you only need one yes. So look for people who say yes, and don't be disappointed if they say no. You just need one yes. And you can find me at annafalcon.com and also at VR and Movies in Twitter and Instagram. VR as in virtual reality, and hope to see everyone there and connect with each other.
Thank you, Ana. Jordan and Jasmine?
I think that the best advice I can give is film being a collaborative art. I think you're only as good as your team and the people that you surround yourself with. So, really try your hardest to surround yourself with good, honest, not just talented people, but reliable people. And definitely get yourself a good producer like I did, somebody to keep you on track and really help you get things done.
Yeah, I actually would also say just go out there and shoot. Just go out there, grab your phone, grab whatever you have, go out there and shoot. Build a story, and then as you keep shooting, you'll find those stories that you want to tell. And then you'll create your passion and your craft around what you really want to tell. And you also gain some experience and maybe meet some really great people along the way.
And you can find me on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Jordan Loves and also Jordan Hates. So all those platforms.
You can find me on Facebook under Yasmin Preciado. And just hope to connect with you guys.
And then is that in between you? I see that you have a frame. Is that the cover of the poster for your film?
Oh yeah, this is our poster. Yeah.
Ta-da!
Beautiful. Ya pronto, soon enough. Thank you very much. Very smart to have it here in the background. All right. Is there something else any of you would like to add before we go ahead and announce the winners? Are we excited? Are you ready?
Yeah.
I also wanted to share that we're going to be putting the films on the San Diego Union Tribune.com. So your films will be up there on our website, on San Diego Union Tribune.com. We will be communicating with the festival when those are up, so you have that information. The ones from last year's finalist films are already on there. You can find them on our website. It's San Diego Union Tribune.com /migrant-voices-film-challenge is how you can find them on the website. So I'll try to share that in the chat later so we can share that if you would like to watch the ones from last year, and so you know where you can find them this year as well. We were waiting until they were screened at the festival, and then we get the information from the team, and then we'll be glad to share them on there for you as well. Okay, we keep getting congratulations, folks. You can keep sending in your messages for these wonderful filmmakers. You can send them on Facebook. You can also watch us on YouTube. Send in your messages. We're getting some from Erika Daniel saying congratulations. Thank you to everybody who has been watching and sending in comments. Okay, now the moment we've all been waiting for, we're going to go ahead and announce the winners. El momento que todos hemos estado esperando. Vamos a anunciar los dos ganadores del día de hoy. Let's first thank our jury for the work in selecting the winners. This year's jury includes Paul Espinosa, Laura Castañeda, Norma Iglesias, Luis Cruz, Shelby Courtney, and Cuauhtemoc Ruelas. Again, we want to congratulate all of the finalists on their incredible work. Congratulations. We really commend you for your work. We appreciate you taking the time to participate in this annual film competition. And we especially appreciate you creating such important films about the plight of immigrants and refugees around the world. Please know on a personal basis that I have seen the Migrant Voices films, and they touch my heart. They're very touching, wonderful stories, and I appreciate the perspective and the time that you spent putting these together. Are you ready? Let's have drum roll so we can announce the winner. Listos, vamos a anunciar el ganador. The winner for the best emerging film is Defend the Asylum. Yay!
Yay.
Would you like to say some words? ¿Quieres decir unas palabras?
No, no, pues no, la verdad es que no sé qué esperar, pero pues muy feliz. Es una sorpresa, la verdad, y muy agradecido con todo el equipo con el que trabajamos, muy, muy agradecido con Espacio Migrante por habernos dado la oportunidad de trabajar con ellos. Pues no sé qué más que decir, espero que siga viendo el proyecto, espero que este tema se siga trabajando, porque me parece muy, muy importante. Es un tema que está pasando actualmente y invito a todos a que puedan informarse más sobre el tema y conocer más. Y sobre todo, ver a los migrantes desde una perspectiva diferente y poder empatizar más con ellos. Hace falta mucha sensibilidad en esos temas y mucha empatía con ellos. Entonces, invito ya a todos a que se informen más sobre estos temas y que, no sé, tengo la esperanza de que con la unión de todos podamos hacer un cambio en estos temas. Y nada, muy agradecido con todos. Muchas gracias.
Felicidades.
Muchas gracias a ti. Felicidades, Andrés. ¿Te lo esperabas?
No, la verdad es que no.
Muchas, muchas felicidades. Congratulations to Andrés for all of his efforts. And now we're going to move on to the next winner. Vamos a continuar ahora con el siguiente ganador. The winner for the best professional film is, let's have a drum roll. Everybody help me out here. Javes Keys. Congratulations. Felicidades. Javes Keys, ganadora.
Felicidades.
Unas palabras.
I was not expecting that, and I'm a big crybaby, so you talk. I can't.
Thank you all so much. We're just really grateful to be here screening with all these wonderful films, and yeah, it's been a lovely experience, and this is a phenomenal competition, and we're just really grateful. So thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts. It means a lot.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mayra. One more thing to inspire your students with.
Well, I have something to share tomorrow.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say?
Well, for me, whenever I submit to festivals or competitions, it's more about just finding a little place for these little films. When I was 18 and I first applied to film school, it was just to create little films that of ordinary things or things that I thought were ordinary stories. And I've been very blessed that however many years, can't do the math right now because it's a lot of feelings, that I'm still able to do that, and just finding audiences and people connecting to that. That is the most meaningful thing for me, because I never really set out to be a big star or anything. It was just to share these stories that I just would see growing up in my neighborhood, in my community. And it's just overwhelming that these little films land. They land like I hear at home in California. I guess we recently got accepted into a Belgian film festival, so these little films travel more than I've ever have, and it's just really surreal that I'm able to do this. And yeah, I'm rambling, but that's that's all.
You're touching lives around the world, not only in California, you're touching lives around the world with your films. Thank you very, very much. And again, I do want to remind the two winners of this year's competition, the Emerging Filmmaker Prize, you're going to be awarded $1,000, and the Professional Filmmaker Prize, $5,000 award. So congratulations. Hopefully that'll help you for the production of your next film.
Oh, I definitely will.
Thank you very much to everybody who participated, to everybody that's been watching tonight as well. Thank you for all your comments as well. Again, thank you and congratulations on behalf of the San Diego Latino Film Festival and the San Diego Union Tribune. We would like to thank you all again. And thanks to everyone who watched the videos. Thanks to everybody who provided comments and questions. And again, stay tuned. You can be watching these films soon on SanDiegoUnionTribune.com. Wait a minute, is it SDUnionTribune.com or San Diego Union Tribune.com? I believe it might be SD Union Tribune. No, it is San Diego Union Tribune.com. I am correct. Thank you very much again. Have a wonderful evening. And Mayra, Alex, Andres, Christian, Miguel, Ana, Jordan, Jasmine, Hugo, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. It's been my honor to host this, Christian. Felicidades to all of you and good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.